What's cooking, y'all? Quick Panic here, and I am back in gear, don't you have no fear. And today we are back with another episode of TheoryOh Dueling with my buddy Pizzy.
Hello.
Except this time he's on the camera. He's not like a disembodied voice, which is super cool. Yeah, so we got some really cool updates for Duel Links, and if you guys have been watching my streams, I've been streaming a lot more Duel Links because we introduced synchros. We got 5D's characters here, which I love. Yusei is like one of my absolute favorite characters out of all of the Yu-Gi-Oh animes, and it's added another dimension to the game, but there were still some things that were keeping synchros from thriving, like Amazonas and For Hire were some big problems, and some old problems got addressed with this update that we're about to talk about right now. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my mail, and oh, look at that! We got a letter about skill balancing. Okay, let's talk about this first, because this is actually a huge deal, because on my streams, I was getting dunked on by UA, like literally dunked on by Dunker. And so we're going to start with this. The cards are a huge deal, but this is also a big deal that I think is not being talked about near as much as it should be. So the first one was Cyber Style is being addressed, which is one of Zane Truesdale's abilities. And it allowed you to summon a bunch of Proto-Cyber dragons to the field based on the amount of life points that you lost. For every 1,000, you get one on the field. And it was really broken because it could just be used as tribute fodder for UAs, which was super irritating because you could even trigger it yourself, like put yourself in range by activating Cosmic Cyclone, and then you've lost 1,000 life points. In the end phase, you've also gotten rid of a back row, so next turn you could just like Dougie on your opponent's face, which was super unfortunate. So I'm really happy about that. Did you see it applied in any other ways that makes this kind of cool other than UA?
I saw it getting used by Zane and Amazonas. People were using it to tribute summon for Vision Hero Witch Rider.
Oh, that's super good card.
So
yeah,
people just splashed it in a bunch of different ways. I mean, its application was annoying because it was just used most in UA. I've seen it used in decks like Blue Eyes. Also saw it in Amazonas, but it was it definitely enabled UA a lot. So this is actually a really big like slap in the face to all UA players. But I'm happy that they changed it. I remember we were talking about the other day that I think it should only be used for fusions.
Yeah, we literally just talked about that, which is super cool.
And then they ended up doing it exactly like that, so I thought that was kind of funny.
So we didn't even get to see the applications of this, but potentially it could be used with tuners for synchro summoning in the future. So I think this is a good preventative measure that Konami took. So Konami, you did something right. Thank you.
For once.
For once. The next one was actually the most infuriating way for me to lose in a stream was to life cost 0 Cyberstein, because Cyberstein could just keep using his effect forever and ever. Amen. Because when you activated life cost 0, it made everything cost 0 for that whole turn. That's dumb. Like, you could do Solemn Scolding, you could do Cosmic Cyclone, you could do anything and everything you wanted to. And this is cool because now you can only use this ability one time, and you only get the free life point cost once. Which means you can still do one Cyberstein into Blue Eyes Ultimate, which is still more than 4,000 life points. But now you have to make sure your opponent has 0 answers. So it's a lot less forgiving. I think that's the only way it was being used with Cyberstein, right?
I mean, during Worlds, someone did it to me turn 1, and they brought out an Ojama King and just zoned out all of my zones, so that was fun, but I don't think that'll be really relevant going forward.
Goodness. Okay, so these are good changes. Are there any other skills that you should have been addressed? I think all of the skills have been balanced pretty well. I'm trying to think of ones in the future. What's the Bandy Keith one? Switcheroo. That one's kind of irritating.
It was more irritating in Heroes, which actually got addressed.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So we're actually going to talk about that. So those are the updates to those, which are really cool. I'm a huge fan of those. And you know, when stuff like this happens and makes it so the playing field is more level, it makes me more passionate and excited about playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So normally my Twitch stream was more like Pokemon heavy because Duel Links had gotten so dry and stale with For Hire. But what I'm about to show you gets me super amped up. And when do these get applied? Did it say?
The 22nd.
22nd of... Oh, right there.
Expected date.
6 days? That's... Okay. I can deal with that.
Tuesday's update.
So check this out, guys. Now, if you don't know the way that the Forbidden Limited list works in Duel Links, it's actually different from the TCG. In the TCG, they have a Forbidden list, means you can't use it. That's the same thing in this game, but we don't have any cards on the Forbidden list right now. Limited list meant you could only use one copy of each card on the Forbidden List. In Duel Links, you can only use one copy of this card, and you can't use any other copies of cards that are also at 1. So that means that you cannot run, in this new example, you cannot run Vision Hero Vion and Amazoness Onslaught in the same deck. I don't know why you would, but you cannot now. You do not have that option. So same thing with cards that are at 2. If you're going to use Enemy Controller is a card that's at 2, and so is For Hire Donpa. So you cannot use 2 Donpas and 2 Enemy Controllers. You can use 1 and 1, and now you've met the total semi-limited limit for the deck. So I think this is another cool thing that Duel Links does with the ban list. It makes things a lot more varied, so you don't just end up having everybody put 2 enemy controllers in the deck anymore. They used to run like 2 or 3 enemy controllers in like every deck, because why not? Tribute for game. So let's talk about these changes. These are pretty cool. Vision Hero Vion. I love D Heroes. Like, I've been playing D Heroes on stream mainly because if you are conservative with your resources and you kind of wait out your opponent, you can eventually just like push them with a small amount of cards, or first part of the game, if they start off really slow, you can just punish them and have game in one turn. There might be some other changes that need to happen to the deck in the future. Mass Change is still really broken, but it's kind of like a glass cannon deck. There's so many combo pieces you have to run that it seems like there's something keeping it from being number 1 out of everything. You also have the fact that Anki is 2800 and Blue Eyes, which is actually meta, which is crazy. It happened in the TCG like 3 years ago, and now it's happening here in Duel Links, and I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't happy. Like, it's kind of cool to be summoning Blue Eyes. Like, everybody wants to summon Blue Eyes. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Vision Hero Vion goes to 1. There are no other great cards in the deck that are at 1, right?
Nope.
So you just tossed in the 1 Vion, then you have the 2 Celestials. I was already running just 1 Vion based on a deck list that Pizzy gave me, so I'm fine with it because I've already been playing like this for the past week and a half, 2 weeks since I got that deck list. Any other comments on Vion or D Heroes?
I mean, there's like a segue to further down on the list, but the Vion to 1 is interesting because it enabled a lot of like really big pushes by heroes. Being enabled by Trunade, which is actually further down on this list going to 2. But I think you only ever had to run 1. It was annoying if you could run 3, because then if you already had access to like a Malicious in your hand, or you're not running Malicious at all, you just dump a Vion with Vion, and then you have a free removal for Polymerization, which was kind of frustrating. But other than that, all it's going to do now is have Celestial setup and Malicious setup. But yep. I think you'll need to run 1 anyway. So.
The next card on this list is Amazoness Onslaught, which is my least favorite card to ever exist in all of Duel Links. I would have taken 43 Cybersteins at life cost 0 to the teeth over this one. I cannot stand this card. It's unbalanced for Duel Links. I don't think it's really fair. And it's not because you just drew this card and it was fine. It's because it was searched by Amazon Princess, which you're going to see, Amazoness Princess, which you're going to see a little bit lower down. But this card at 1... there are no other Amazon cards that are at 1, so you just run this 1, and it's fine. So you can still play Amazoness because you still have a Searcher, but Amazoness Baby Tiger is at 2, and now Princess is at 2. So we're still not seeing Baby Tiger. Baby Tiger is still just chilling. You're going to run 2 Princess, 1 Onslaught. With Princess at 2, before it was like, okay, so you have 2 Onslaughts or 2 Baby Tigers or 2 Econs, so you just ran 2 Onslaughts. Now with Amazoness Princess, you still can't use Econ, which is good. I think that's a good move. But this also hurts the consistency of the deck when we move down to Amazoness Princess. This card is at 2, so you'll probably run 1 Onslaught, 2 Amazoness Princess, and not much else changes. Pizzy feels very passionately about Swordswoman, which was not hit.
It needs to go to 1, man. Needs to go to 1.
Oh, man. So Amazoness Swordswoman really ticks me off because you see it used in a lot of decks that are not Amazon. So you see it like the earliest applications I can think of was Massive Morph on a Lava Golem, and then you just ram your Swordswoman into it, and that's not fun. I didn't have fun. Nobody had fun. That was not fun. So maybe in the future we'll see Swordswoman go to less than 3. But for now, I don't think it would be fair to put it at 2 or 1 because of the way that the ban list works. Having 1 Onslaught and 2 Princess, I think, is pretty... I think it hurts it enough to make it less prevalent.
I mean, the only reason Onslaught was super OP is because if you leveled Maya to 45 and got Queen, that's what really enabled
Queen!
Onslaught to be a really frustrating to play against card. Other than that, it's pretty easy to play around. But yeah, I think going to 1. I hate this deck so much.
No,
So.
I cannot stand it. I don't think anybody is like super happy to play against it.
Anyone
like,
who went to Worlds,
oh, my
playing
favorite.
It, maybe? I don't know. That was like the most played deck at Worlds was Amazoness. So it's like, well,
I'm glad that it's been hurt. So moving on, this one makes me super happy because this deck was the reason that I took such a long break from Duel Links. And by long break, I mean like 3 weeks. It wasn't a whole lot. I was still like auto-dueling and getting rewards, but I had no interest in playing against summon, special, search, summon, special, negate, attack, attack, attack game. Like, it was not fair. I don't know what Konami was smoking when they put this card in the game. In TCG, this is fine. This is not relevant. But in Duel Links, it's a negate for a spell or trap card, and you're already running a ton of for hire, so you're almost always guaranteed to have a for hire to discard for it because you also have beat, which is at 3. But putting Wiz at 2 is cool because of the way that this ban list works. Donpa is at 2. So now you're definitely running 1 Wiz, 1 Donpa. I don't think you forego the Wiz, and I don't think you forego the Donpa. And I just don't see... You probably go 1-1, right?
Well, like, the reason this is actually a big deal is because, like I mentioned earlier, Truenade's also at 2, so it's like you can't run 1 Donpa, 1 Wiz, 1 Trunade to, like, OTK your opponent. Like, it forced you to have to play some, like, real wonky builds to actually keep playing for hire. I think this unfortunately opens the door for them to put the rest of the for hire monsters into the game, which some of them would be really unfair for Duel Links, but in terms of like the Kaiba Cup coming up, I think this is a really, really, really huge change. It basically removes for hire from the top like 2 tiers of PvP because there's no way you can play the deck with 1 Wiz and 1 Donpa unless you're just really, really good at drawing the stones all the time. I mean, you still have 3 beat, so people are still going to try to play it because it's also a really cheap deck to build compared to most of the other meta decks, but I'm a huge fan of this change as well. Like, not to mention, outside of the spell trap negation, its 2800 defense was just unfair because you could wall out pretty much any other deck that wasn't Amazoness because they're not going to produce a monster that can get over 2800 real easily, so... I love the change, personally.
I was actually using Ties That Bind with Yusei and running D-Heroes, Masked D-Heroes, and I did that because it got me over Wiz. Like, there were so many times that Enki was just, like, kissing Wiz's butt. I was like, I just need 1 more attack point, and this will be fine. So that's how big of a problem it was. That 2800 butt is stupid. Like, it's super high. Plus the negation, obviously. Life point gain doesn't really matter. But the negation. Moving on, this is a good change because now Trunade is a pretty unfair card in this game. The only card that you would flip up to make it so it didn't return to the hand, because Hey Trunade only returns face downs. If they're flipped face up in a chain, they stay on the field. They have to be set at resolution to return to the hand. So people would just flip over Onslaught, which was kind of irritating.
Penalty box?
Penalty box, yes. So Trunade at 2, I think, is very good, especially because for hires were running max Trunades just so they could just activate it, don't deal with any back rows, and then summon all their monsters, attack for game. So I think that's an excellent change. If anybody was running it in Amazoness, they obviously aren't now, but I don't think there's any reason to. They don't make big pushes. They play like a really grindy game. So Hey Trunade at 2. So Celestial's also at 2. So
I was about to say it's the only deck I can do if I ran the card.
So Masked Heroes cannot use Trunade anymore. You don't take out a Celestial. No way. You're already like in a bind for good Destiny heroes. And I'm running Malicious, and I know that can be a brick, but I'm running Malicious just to have other good names. So no Hey Trunade. I think everybody needs to stock up on their Cosmic Cyclones. Because this is
Galaxy Cyclone.
And Galaxy Cyclone. Galaxy Cyclone is excellent. Actually, see, it's not chainable, which kind of blows. But now we don't have to worry about triggering Amazon and Onslaught. Onslaught. So maybe, Galaxy Cyclone, Cosmic Cyclone. I think those are good changes. Like,
you can do like 2 and 1 probably.
Yeah.
2 Cosmic, 1
and
Galaxy.
1 Galaxy. Just because Galaxy has that extra versatility. So Treacherous Trap Hole is on the list, and people are like, why is this at 2? People were running.
Read the description. Yeah, it tells you why.
People were running 2. I was running 2 just so I could draw it because it's such a blowout card. This card is not fair. So if you don't know what Treacherous Trap Hole does, if you have no trap cards in your graveyard, you can activate this card and pop 2 monsters on the field. face up, face down, doesn't matter. They are getting destroyed, and it provided an unfair advantage to whoever started with it. So if you were going first and you started with a treacherous trap hole and your opponent didn't have like a true nade or a cyclone or anything, put you at an unfair advantage. And I don't think there's anything else to say with that. Like, now you're not running treacherous trap hole and for hire either. So you're running a Dompa and a Wiz. You don't have treacherous anymore. You don't have hate true nade. The more we talk about it out loud, I'm like, for hire probably does not. Deck. Yeah, it probably doesn't have much of a chance anymore. So
nope. That's why I said I think it opens the door for them to put the rest of the for hire.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. The negation guy, 2800. There's also a 1900 guy.
That 1900 guy would be ridiculous.
Yeah, there's some really good for hires. So maybe you guys can get one of them. I really wish Konami would do more of that, where they are unlocking single cards like Amazoness Queen. By level ups. So we still have 5D's characters that could provide us with some of these. Obviously, for hire is not Zexal, but what's the newest one? V Reigns. Vrains?
Arc 5?
There's Arc V, Vrains.
Oh, Arc 5 was
yeah, almost. That was Pendulum.
Between. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Need to catch up on my anime game.
We don't have any Vrains, guys, so you can't obviously do it with that. But they were doing things with like the card flip. Do that, man. Put one of something in the game. Give me one MST. Give me one...
Not anymore. One MST would be unfair now.
You think so?
Well, MST when we had 2 Onslaught would be fair. But now that, like... I think we're going to see a big phase away from, like...
Back rows?
Summon a monster, set 3 back row. I'm curious to what it's going to go to, but I think we'll see a lot of heavy synchro play now that... Because there's a lot of shenanigans you can do with Junk Synchron, so it's like...
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting going forward.
So my thing with tuners and synchros right now is the tuners are really what makes the deck good, because accessibility to synchros is what's important. Like, it doesn't matter how good a synchro is if the tuners aren't available for it. Like, if it requires a really big setup, it really doesn't matter that you have a good synchro because it's so ridiculous to pull out. Like right now, we have Trishula in the TCG. It's irrelevant. Look at this, starting with Malicious, beautiful. It's like basically irrelevant. So I'd like to see them release some better tuners. Look at UA's dunking on me.
Well, he has Martial Leaf in his deck. That's why I was looking at what's
I don't know what that is.
That's why I was looking.
So if you guys haven't been paying attention, Blue Eyes is like a pretty big thing right now.
The thing I'm not a fan about Blue Eyes is it is behind an insane paywall because you need 2 Silver Cry.
Oh my Lanta, yes.
And you need 2 of the 1-star guy that you contribute to summon Blue Eyes.
Only 2 Silver Cry, not 3?
All the lists I've seen, especially since the Spirit or whatever his name that came in the structure deck came out.
Yeah.
I think it makes it a lot harder for you to play the deck now, but I don't know. I played against the deck a lot last night in the Duel Carnival, and I lost every single game. Didn't matter how good I started or how bad I started, because they just pull off some shenanigans. They count that you can Ancient Rules out the guy who banishes spells and traps.
Yeah, because it says this card counts as a normal monster while it's in your hand in graveyard. So you can Birthright it, you can Ancient Rules it out.
We have 2 Birthright now. Or 3 if you buy 3 instructions.
No, Birthright was already in a pack.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so that was in an old pack. Which is another thing. They're giving us cards for money that back in the day, good old Quick Panic, 1,400 years ago, paid like $90 to get 1 Birthright, and now you pay $4 and you get 1 Sparkly Birthright. How nice is that? Ancient Rules was a Mokuba unlock, and I ground so hard for that. And now, look, you just give a rare ticket. Here you go, mister. I'm done. I ground Mokuba to the ground.
I mean, you do have to get the giveaway ticket, the daily reward ticket.
Yeah.
Is the way you get the Ancient Rules, but still, like, all you have to do is log in to grab it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, good job, Konami. I guess they're making it more accessible, but it makes all of my past purchases regrets. So, have you seen anything else in the metagame that you think is really going to pick up now that everything has got just slaughtered? Other than, vampires?
Oh, I totally forgot about how irritating that deck is.
That's a paywall too. I mean, it's not as big as Blue Eyes, but
it's in a mini box. So
yeah, you can eventually get all of it, but I'm probably going to pay like, I don't know, $40 to get all of it if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I'm just missing each of one of the little supers just by using gems. My goal, since I put $1 bajillion into building Noble Knight, is that all I want to do is try to build everything with gems. And it's going okay, but then I can't play fun decks. So
the struggle of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that Blue Eyes and Vampires are going to be really good for a while. They don't seem stupid.
I think UA is still going to be good. They're just going to have to change their build. They were running 3 of that. I can't remember his name for the life of me. The guy starts with a D. It's like a summon Cyber Dragon, and then when you special summon him, it specials 1 from your opponent gets special 1 from either player's graveyard.
Oh, the elephant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just go back to running 3 of that. I saw really
Unknown Synchron.
I also saw a lot of interesting builds using the Tricky. So like you can ditch a penalty box, and then you banish penalty box to add stadium, and then you contribute and then get the stadium rolling.
Yep.
Because the biggest problem that deck runs into is if you don't draw stadium and little guy midfielder, then you're gonna get romped. But other than that, I really like UA. We might see the return of spellbooks, which is gonna annoy me.
Those turns take too long.
Because I literally, sorry guys, but if you play spellbook against me, I'm reporting you for slow play. I can't stand playing against that deck.
It takes so long.
Your turns take so long. Even there's people who are like literally speeding through it, and their turns were still taking like a minute and a half, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
Sometimes it doesn't look like they're gonna win. Like I just scoop because I do not want to watch anymore. I'm like, I don't have time for this. My time is worth more than this.
It's like I'll just take this L and make up for it playing.
And let's move on.
Yeah.
So I think we covered all the bases. Anything else?
I'm just happy about that. They did exactly what I wanted them to do.
We were literally talking about some of these changes like
yesterday,
2 days ago. Yeah. So I'm really happy with the ban list. I think this is the best job they've done with the ban list. They've actually addressed some problems. Whether or not it was just to like hype up Blue Eyes and. I don't know, because this happened right after they released all of it. And they're like, you know what? This is kind of ruining everything. We need Blue Eyes to be better. So, I don't know. We'll see how it is. It'll be refreshing to not lose to For Hire because Blue Eyes is at least cool looking.
I'm not looking forward to getting sacked by Blue Eyes repeatedly. But it's still better than losing to, like, For Hire.
Yep.
Because you at least have a chance against some of the, like... I mean, my opponent opened the stones in Blue Eyes last night. I still managed to come back. I don't even remember how, but...
Do you mean the white stones of legend?
There was no white stones. But, I just don't know what's going to happen with Kaiba Cup. This just shows you, though, that 100% there's going to be at least a mini box in the next, like, week or two, because they got to do... Like, they're not just going to allow that structure deck to be the last thing they release before Kaiba Cup in early November. So... I wonder if they're just going to, like, drop a whole new archetype on us, and that's why they removed For Hire.
Dude, guys, okay. Imagine this. We have Blue Eyes as meta. Blue Eyes is cool. Kaiba, Blue Eyes. And then they're like, let's just drop Dark Magic Circle. And then we get Dark Magician support, and the 2 best decks are Dark Magician and Blue Eyes. Could you imagine? That would be... I would weeb out so hard.
I could see them doing something real weird. Like.
Well, it's also the 20th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right?
That's true.
So what better way than using the most iconic monsters in the game? Konami, are you listening? A, sponsor me. B, do the thing I just said, because that would be super fun and everybody loves using Dark Magician.
3, make Time Wizard more relevant.
Alright guys, that is going to be it. If you have any sort of recommendations for what you'd like to hear us talk about in the future, let us know. We usually just do a video whenever there's new content that's relevant, but now due to our closer proximity, we'll probably be doing more videos, which is really cool. Also, I'm more excited about Duel Links. You probably are too. Yeah, so it's really easy to make content when you're excited about it. Yeah, buy Amazon, buy For Hire. Nobody's going to miss you.
Nope.
Yeah, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed this content. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I've got Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pops, whatever the heck I feel like doing because it's my channel. But, yeah, that's all I got for today. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Later.